Wagwan, wagwan, wagwan. It's your humble host, Big Truck here, the King's Table Conversation and Reviews. Shout out to my man Anton Daniels here. He's doing amazing things. Go to the King's channel and show him some love. Every time I react to different videos, I always like to pay homage and pay respect and show love. So we're going to dive into this thing right quick. He has some things to say. I have some things to say. And then the spirit of the universe is going to take us home. So without further ado, grab your shoulder pads and your helmet and let's get this work. Let's go.
I don't even hide my hatred for men anymore. See, back in the day, I used to know that I had this feeling inside of me, but I didn't know how to express it. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to say anything that would get me canceled or get me having people being mad at me, or because I kind of know that like hatred for anybody is not good for your soul. So I always tried to cover it up and call it other things or like excusing and stuff like that. But baby, I ain't doing that no more. When I meet a guy, I tell him straight up from the jump, I do not like guys. But more specifically, I hate guys. I am a misandrist, and I stand 10 toes down on it, and I say it with my chest now. Like I said, I didn't always say it with my chest because I was a little bit too scared. But it then got to the point where it's just like, no, I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared of being...
What happened in your childhood? You notice I immediately went to the childhood. What happened in your childhood? What was done to you? Was you touched? Because I can look into you and I can tell you had a rough childhood. A lot of abandonment, a lot of abuse. Some things took place. There's a reason why you saying what you saying. You didn't just started feeling that way overnight. This behavior, this thing was developed. Let's take it back. Let's go back to the roots of the beginning of where it started.
That's what I'm not scared of. People being mad at me. I'm not scared of the men being in my comments. I don't care. But I do want to get one thing straight. My hatred for men is not the same type of hatred that like racists have, like the way that a white person would feel about a black person. Like if you just see a black person out just in public minding their own business and you just see a black person and you're like, ugh, like your face is turning red, your face is scrunching up because you just hate those black people, you know. I don't feel that way. I don't see a man like out in the wild and be like, oh, fucking, he's a man. You know, I don't feel like that. I do feel like that.
You know what I see when I look in my eye? I see a scared little...
When the man tries to insert himself in my life or in my space in any type of way. That's when I get that, nigga, you know, that's when I get that rage.
Okay. So if a man tries to invade your space, quite interesting. Quite interesting. I want to hear more.
Feeling.
These people are unhealthy, honest to God. And I don't know if it's the accent. It sounds like she from Louisiana. I don't know if it's the tattoo. I don't know if it's something that happened in her past that led her down this pathway of hatred. The level of hatred that people have, that they live with, that they go to bed with, that they wake up with, that they already have programmed within them to treat a person like when they interact with them on a daily basis. And nobody cares about whether or not you actually get into or talk to or is with somebody in a relationship. But to say that I'm a misandrist, do y'all know what misandrist is? Do you know what a misandrist or what misandry is? It is specifically, it's like how she just described it, right? It's a extreme hatred, prejudice, dislike, distaste. I just don't like specifically towards men and boys.
And again, it didn't just happen out of the clear blue. That type of behavior was developed. It came from somewhere. And that's oftentimes I always say that when you're dealing with an individual, and sometimes I use myself as an example. Okay. If a person has unfinished business with their past, their childhood, they need to go back and fix that. They need to go back and face that and deal with that, because if they don't, look how it shows up as an adult. The older you get, the worse it gets. And don't mess around and have children. Because now what you've done, you've passed those same behaviors down to your children. And you wonder why your children begin to behave the way that they behave.
Any masculine trait whatsoever, she has a strong dislike and a strong distaste for you. And you know what the worst part about this whole conversation is? Is that when I went, and checked it out, because I always like to give credit to the content creator, so that link is going to be in the description, regardless of whether I agree with him or not. When I went and I checked out this video, because I like to deep dive to better understand exactly who people are and what their target audience is and stuff. And so I went into the comments, and there are women that's like, oh man, I found my people. Yo, you walk past them every day. You may have had them check you out. So they have this level of distaste and hatred. These people may be handling your food. They may be your servers when you go into the restaurant.
Everyday individuals, everyday operating, moving individuals. And you will never know. You will never know that this is who they are until A, you sit down and have a conversation, or B, you trying to holler. And individuals like this is sad because that's a lot of pain. That's a lot of hurt. That's years and years and years of just carrying and allowing things to fester and that's no way to be.
It even can get as bad as they are the person that is a police officer that pull you over or whatever. This level of hatred would not be acceptable in any other space, in any other realm, in any other situation. If a white person was like this towards a black person, it would be absolutely addressed. If a black person was like this towards a white person, it 100% would be addressed. It would be called out. But because it's a woman towards a man, if a man came on this application and said, I genuinely hate women, and I hope that they cease to exist. I hate it when they come into my spaces and they just get angry as a result of it. Man, let me tell you, bro, that shit would go viral. But because it's a woman, and this is the double standard, and again, I don't care. Like, I'm cool with people openly saying that they are prejudiced or they are misandrous or whatever, because it lets you know where they are. Honestly, I think that it's a good thing.
It also lets you know how a person moves. Like I said, if you sit back and you let a person talk, they'll tell on themselves. They will tell you everything that you need to know about them so that you can move accordingly.
Let's see what else you got to say. If there's some redemption, if there's a redemption arc in this.
But no, I don't just like see.
Because at first I'll be thinking that people be trolling.
Men out in the wild be like, oh my God, I hate y'all so much. You know what I mean? My brain don't operate like that. But let you try to talk to me, let you try to, whether it's online, in person, or whatever. If you try to talk to me, then that's when my anger fuels, But outside of that, yeah, like I said, I used to be so scared to just talk about it or whatever, but I'm not no more, baby. It's like we need to keep it real. And I think if all people just said, stood 10 toes down on whatever it is, whatever they are, whether you racist, misogynist,
yeah, either Louisiana or New Orleans, one of the two. But yeah, she could be trolling. This can all be an act. You got people that do that for attention. They'll make these TikTok videos and they will say certain things for attention, for views, for likes.
They say Andreas, homophobic, whatever you are. I think we need to start saying straight up what we are and the things that we don't like to give people the opportunity. Like I'm telling you, like, sir, I don't like men. I'm a misandrous. You might want to get away from me. If I was somebody told me, if somebody was like, look, I don't like big girls, get away from me. I can't stand you fat fuckers. I'd be like, oh, well, I'll stay away from you. Or if a racist person was like, yeah, I don't like you N-words.
Something that just hit me. I've never came across a woman who said that she hate men, that she's a misandrous. I've never came across a woman that have ever said that in real time. Now, I've came across women that have said, they don't like the way men approach them. They don't like that.
Get away from here. I'll be like, thank you for letting me know. And I just feel like if everybody just said it with their chest and stop being so damn scary, then we could get further. We could get further if we
The fuck was
stop being
that?
afraid to say what we really are.
What the fuck was that?
And it's just like,
Well, we agree on that point because I like for people to, and I didn't know she was going to say that because I didn't ever get to this point of the video, but we agree on that point that I'm cool with people just being transparent with who they are and how they rocking out and all of that because it kind of gives you a better perspective on who you're dealing with. But aside from that, I think that people honestly, it can't be healthy for your heart, for your soul, for your spirit to be in a place or to live in a space where you genuinely have a distaste and you hate. If you can never get to the point to where you say you're hating or you're hateful or you hate a certain type of person, I'm not trying to stop you from feeling and doing what you're doing because I think it's cool. But I think it's sad. It is. I think it's one of the saddest things that I've seen.
And an individual will be short-lived because that stuff will eat at you and eat at you and eat at you. And you cannot say that you are a lover of the Most High, but yet you carry hatred in your heart for another individual. You can't sit up here and call yourself a so-called Christian, but yet you carry hate in your heart for another individual. You can't sit up here and say that you are a person of love and a person of abundance and enjoying living everyday life, but yet carry hatred in your heart. Get out of here with that. An individual that's so toxic with that deep-rooted stuff, caring, I'm surprised you ain't had no ulcer, heart attack, or whatnot have you, because that's basically what would happen. Because you're carrying that stuff. You had a rough childhood, sweetheart. Because I'm looking at your body language and I'm looking at your facial micros. You ain't about that. You just talking shit. Let's continue.
And it's not a healthy thing to go through life with that type of distaste towards people in any capacity in my as far as I'm concerned. I don't hate liberals. I just strongly disagree with them. I don't hate people that have a different lifestyle as far as how they live sexuality. I just think it's nasty and I don't think it should be pushed on us. But
what do you think? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Shout out to my man K Spade for sending me this. And again, you get to see how people move. And when you begin to see how people move, okay, this is who you really are. If a person gonna show you who they really are, believe them.
Access granted.